it was to my great peril at the end of my career. Last time I left a medical examiner's office, as a matter of fact, was in the back of an ambulance. I'd been suffering from the same heart attack for 6 months.
You had a heart attack?
No, I didn't. It was panic attacks. I thought I was having a heart attack. I went to the doctor 3 separate times, and then finally I just collapsed, and they had to remove me, and I never went back after that in 2005. And it was a horrible time. My wife was pregnant with Isaac at the time. And I was finishing up my graduate degree in forensic science. I'll never forget that.
When did Isaac pass away?
Isaac passed away in 5. He did. It all happened at the same time. I'm sorry. He passed away in the fall of 4. In the fall of 4, I was officially separated from the ME's office in the February of 5, I think.
So you had a panic attack shortly after his death.
Another one, yeah,
another one,
multiple, yeah, and they, and when I went to see the psychiatrist that the county had sent me to, first off, she had a hard time taking a measure of where I was. She was this lady that was older, Indian lady named Dr. Rao. I'll never forget her. She saved my life. She said she was in that stage in her career where early on she was old enough to have done, and I found this interesting thing about my father. She had done her residency in Washington State dealing with what they called battle fatigue with incoming Vietnam vets. And I was a quivering mass by this time. I mean, I couldn't process things. All I wanted to do was get back to work. And when I think it was the second meeting, she had put me on these really strong psychotropic medications. I slept for days. She said, "We have to give your brain a rest." I was like, "Yeah, no shit." So they put me on this medication that they normally use for schizophrenia. It's called Seroquel, and it's a horrible drug, just to make me sleep. And I think the second time I went back, I was trying to form the words to ask her about when I could go back to work. And she said, "Not only you're not going to go back to work, if you try to go back to work, I'm going to have you judicially committed." And when that hit me, this is all I'd ever done, Julian, since I was very young.
You're like 20 years in at this point, right?
Oh, yeah. And it's all I'd known, and it's all I was. It was my sole identity in this environment. And that was just like the beginning. And it was within a few months of that I was actually offered a academic position in my first stop along the way. And I remember thinking how terrified I was going into that classroom, because here I was, I'd just gotten out of this mess, dealing with dead bodies and experiencing everything. And here I am, I'm going to go to this classroom and teach these kids about death, because I started up the forensic science program at this college, or forensic investigations program.
What college was that again?
University of North Georgia.
Okay.
As a concentration in forensics. And the funny thing about it is that it turned out to be therapeutic.
I'll bet. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all.
And I found myself advising students, and I had a lot of North Georgia is one of the 6 senior military colleges in the nation. It's like VMI and the Citadel and Virginia Tech and Texas A&M. Only it's strictly an Army college. As a matter of fact, it's in the same location where the Army Ranger Mountain Phase is. It's in Dahlonega, Georgia. And I had a lot of kids that were going through. I had kids that were coming in that were National Guard members. This was at the height of the war, that had done 3 and 4 deployments. And I was seeing these kids coming in that had that
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, they did. And I remember actually kids would come up to me and say, "Professor Morgan, I want to do what you did for a living." And I would find myself in my office talking them out of it. "You don't need to do this. Let's find something else. You need to be a fingerprint analyst or something. You don't need to mess with the dead."
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.